All right, so we all think we know the story of Noah's Ark, right? The giant boat, all the animals marching two by two, the huge flood. It's a story most of us have heard since we were kids. But what if I told you there's a hidden code buried inside it? A deeper pattern that, once you see it, could totally change how you read not just this story, but everything that comes after it. Let's get into it.
So why don't we see this code? Well, the argument is that we're reading this ancient text with totally modern eyes. We see a simple, maybe historical account of a flood. But for the people who first heard this story, they would have seen something completely different, something much more profound. They would have recognized a pattern, a kind of blueprint that unlocks the entire biblical narrative.
And the key to unlocking it all is in this fantastic quote from scholar John Walton. The Bible was written for us, but not to us. Think about that. To really get these stories, we have to try and step into the mindset of that ancient audience. They had a shared culture, a shared way of seeing the world that we've kind of lost, where specific words and themes carried a way deeper meaning.
So what was that deeper meaning? The source we're looking at argues it's a repeating template, what we're going to call the new creation pattern. You can think of it like a master blueprint that the biblical authors used over and over again to tell one single massive story about God and humanity. At its core, this pattern is a really simple but incredibly powerful cycle. It's all about this constant push and pull between divine order and human-made chaos. It's got 4 stages, and trust me, once you learn to spot them, you're going to start seeing this code absolutely everywhere. So let's break it down. First, you have order. A good, functional world is created. Second, you get chaos. Humanity messes up and disrupts that good order. Third comes judgment, a consequence that basically hits the reset button and returns the world to a state of chaos. And finally, fourth, there's restoration. A new creation starts up, led by a new human representative. Order, chaos, judgment, restoration. Got it? That's the whole pattern. So where's the first place we see this? This interpretation points straight to Adam. God creates an ordered garden. That's your order. Adam and Eve disobey. Boom, chaos. They get kicked out of the garden. That's the judgment. And the story ends not with an end, but with the hope of a future hero who will fix everything. The promise of restoration. This is our template. Which brings us right back to Noah's Ark. Because when you see it this way, the story isn't some totally new thing. Nope, it's a perfect replay, a reboot of the Adam story. Noah is basically a new Adam, picked to restart humanity in a completely reset world. The judgment part here is, obviously the flood. But what's so fascinating is the language the text uses to describe this watery chaos. It deliberately uses words that mirror the description of the world before creation in Genesis 1, a world that is disordered and empty. So this isn't just a flood, it's a decreation, wiping the slate totally clean for a new beginning. And then you get this really direct parallel. Just like the Spirit of God moved over the waters in the very first creation story, the Noah story says a wind from God blows over the floodwaters. Then the waters go down. Dry land appears. The message couldn't be clearer. This is the start of a brand new creation, and it's following the exact same script as the original. And here the parallel becomes just impossible to ignore. Noah steps out into this new, ordered world, just like Adam did. He gets the exact same command: be fruitful and multiply. He's given the same job: to be humanity's representative in this remade world. So yeah, the pattern is crystal clear. Through this deep narrative parallel, Noah is being set up as Adam all over again, the head of a new creation. But as we're about to see, the cycle isn't finished just yet. This is where the idea gets so much bigger than just Adam and Noah. The source argues that this new creation pattern is actually the unifying blueprint for the entire biblical story. It's this reoccurring theme that connects all these different people and events that might seem totally random and separate. Okay, and this is where the details get really wild. This interpretation points to some very specific dates. The flood begins on the 17th day of the second month. But when does the ark finally come to rest on the mountains, signaling that new beginning? The 17th day of the 7th month. Now, in the ancient calendar, that 7th month is called Nisan, and the 17th of Nisan is the exact date that's later recorded for the resurrection of Jesus.
According to this reading, there's no way that's a coincidence. It's seen as a deliberate, incredibly powerful link. The ark coming to rest, starting a new world, is a perfect foreshadowing of what's presented as the ultimate new creation event, the resurrection that's meant to conquer chaos once and for all.
And once you have that key, the pattern is suddenly everywhere. Adam is the template. Noah is the new Adam. Moses leads the people through the parted waters of the Red Sea. Joshua leads them through the parted waters of the Jordan River. It's always this journey through chaotic waters and into a new beginning. Until, finally, the writers of the New Testament call Jesus the last Adam, the one who brings the final, permanent new creation.
So when you see it this way, the whole narrative can just snap into focus. It stops being this collection of disconnected stories and becomes one single, unified story. It's a story that gets told and retold about order and chaos and this persistent, unbreakable plan for restoration. You know, seeing this deep structure in such an ancient text, it really makes you wonder. It shows how our stories are never just about what happens, but about how they're told. And it leaves us with a pretty big question. What are the master blueprints, the repeating patterns that are shaping the most important stories we tell ourselves today?